Roger Goodell and Jeff Immelt, welcome.
That's right.
Great to have you here.
Good to be with you.
We want to talk about Super Bowl fever. We want to talk about the matchup. We want to talk about weather contingencies. We want to talk about security, all of that. But let me begin with what brings the two of you together, this effort to do something about concussion. How did this start?
Well, look, I've been a friend of Roger's, and GE's done a lot with the NFL over the years. I think brain science is a place where GE's invested heavily through our healthcare business. It's bigger than just the NFL. It has to do with Alzheimer's disease, traumatic brain injury that the military kids are experiencing when they come back, and certainly concussions are a big part of that. We felt that there would be an opportunity to unleash the technical might of the country to be a part of this. And the NFL is just a great convener. It's a great brand. You know, when they do something, people listen. So Roger and I started talking about this about a year ago, and we made it happen last March. And, you know, so far so good. We're getting a ton of great ideas about how to treat, how to diagnose, and that's the power of two great brands.
What did you make happen, Roger? What did you two do together?
Well, we created two challenges. Today we're going to be announcing 16 winners from the first challenge. And what it is to better diagnose concussions. And what we hope will come out of it is obviously an objective standard that will advance science by using technology so that we can identify the injury, and then we can get into better prognosis and obviously treatment. And there are some great treatments there.
As NFL Commissioner, this is your #1 priority?
Yes, it is. Player health and safety is important, but I think really what inspires Jeff and I here is I think we can make a change in all of sports, or the military, and frankly, we believe in the greater society because these are issues, not only injury, but also disease.
Are you consulting with the military at all? Because as you said, I know spending time in Iraq and Afghanistan, brain sprain, this is a major concern. And I saw that General Chiarelli and some others are actually on the board.
He's on the panel.
Yeah.
You know, of course, DARPA has been a big funder of medical research forever. And I think the way for most Americans to think about this is, you know, we started studying cancer 30 years ago. Think about all the progress we've made. We really started studying the heart 20 years ago. The brain's largely unstudied. So when we talk about this challenge, it's better pictures, so the ability to really see minor concussions. It's biomarkers, which really study how's the brain doing, is it healing? And one of the challenges we had here today, or one of the winners, is, you know, having a sideline tool that can actually within 10 minutes hopefully diagnose whether somebody's actually has a concussion.
10 minutes?
When I was a kid, the doctor would put his hands like this and look into your eyes, and that was the diagnosis.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I think we just need so it's fast diagnosis, it's progression of disease, it's spotting, you know, what's actually going on in the brain. And Alzheimer's is going to use the same stuff. The military is going to use all the same technologies over time.
Roger, let me go to the settlement, the $765 million settlement, which a district court judge rejected. So what now?
Well, she didn't approve it at this time. She is going through all of our analysis and making sure that the money that's in the fund, in the settlement, will be sufficient for the projected needs. And that's appropriate. So we think we will continue to work with her, obviously, and do the best we can to convince her that the appropriate funds are there.
Are you worried about it falling apart?
Well, both sides want to continue to have this, and we believe it's the right thing because we can get money to the people who need it immediately. And that's really the initiative. And we think that the funds that are in there are necessary and sufficient to be able to handle it.
What did you make of President Obama and this New Yorker profile saying that he wouldn't let his son play with the NFL?
Well, one of the things that I tried to explain on many occasions, people don't realize that NFL players are living longer on average than the average male, 3 years. And they're also living higher quality of life from a medical standpoint and a quality of life standpoint. So these are important facts for people to understand. There's a lot of misinformation out there. But our players, we want to continue to do what we can to help them while they're playing the game and when they leave the game. But our players are doing great. We always will continue to try to do more for our players.
Now let me turn to the Super Bowl and what might happen this week.
The fun part.
Two things.
Do you know what's going to happen this week?
Is it going to happen on February 2nd is my first question.
And are you watching the Weather Channel, Roger Goodell? You're sitting there with the Weather Channel tuned in, yeah.
You know,
I have contingencies, expectations, etc.
Whenever you put on an event like this, you have to be prepared with contingencies. But obviously when you're playing in an outdoor climate like this, you have to recognize that weather can play a factor. We're an outdoor sport, so we came here knowing that it was going to be cold and that this would be some of our challenges. We want to make sure the fans are safe and that they're warm. So we've done a lot in that area to try to help them be prepared for that. And obviously, our facilities have to be prepared for it. The community in this region has done an extraordinary job being ready for this. They handle weather, as we all know.
They know how to deal with it.
And they will deal with it.
Roger, I read that no matter what the weather, you're going to be sitting outside. A, is that true? And if so, can I have your indoor seat? I don't want to sit outside. Is that true? You're going to be sitting outside regardless of the weather?
Yes. No, I want to experience this. I want to experience
You don't want to watch a game with her because she constantly takes pictures of you while you're watching it rather than the game.
I used to go to games in Green Bay all the time.
right.
There'd be hundreds of people with their shirts off, so
I will not have my shirt
I
off.
expect to see that at Giant Stadium.
Just a
Charlie.
couple of things about security. Is security a big
Sure.
issue this year because of all the heightened concerns that are coming out of the Olympics, too?
It is always an issue for us. We have no reason to have any concern, but we take every precaution. This is something, when you have this many people coming together, you want to make sure it's done safely.
Yeah.
You're not going to be at the Super Bowl, but you'll be watching, I assume. You may be in Europe or somewhere where you
Exactly.
travel all the
Yeah.
time, though. So this is the best offense against the best defense, right, Roger?
That's correct.
You have a favorite?
You know, Russell Wilson's father played college football with me, Harry Wilson. I loved Harry. He unfortunately died, so I'd say everybody that knew Harry is a Russell Wilson fan. So I have to confess to rooting for the Seahawks.
Now, Roger, I got to ask you about Richard Sherman. When you saw it, and I know you're watching, were you cringing or were you like cheering because it certainly has brought a lot of attention to the NFL? What were you thinking?
Well, it's an emotional game, and you see a young man like that who just comes off the field and he's
pumped up. I
he's
get it.
pumped up, and there's so much excitement in the stadium. But no, I'm not cheering for that because he is such a great young man. He is extremely well spoken, does great things off the field. Obviously, a great player on the field. I want to present himself in the best possible way and make sure that he's reflecting on himself and his family in a positive way. And he took away a little bit from the team. That was what he said yesterday, and I think that was a very interesting comment, and I think it's fair.
A couple of things about the changing NFL. Number one, the extra point. You want to take away the extra point because?
No, the issue here, Charlie, is we try to make every play consequential. And
So the extra point's not consequential?
It's actually, we've missed 5 extra points over 1,200 attempts this year. So
what's your
it's
plan?
almost automatic. So the question is, can we make it a little more difficult to achieve? And one concept is, could you take the kick and say, the kick is out, you automatically get 7 points, but if you want to run or pass, you can get an extra point, and if you fail, you lose a point. So you might get 6. It's just one idea of many, by the way. And we're not necessarily.
I know it doesn't happen often, but it can make a difference. Can we talk about the possibility of Thursday Night Football? If you were still running NBC, would you like this idea?
Look, I think the NFL's delivered time after time. You know, the networks, with all the fragmentation, one of the things that makes a broadcaster is the ability to aggregate. And the NFL is probably the only product out there that's still, you know, I would choke on the price. These guys don't do it cheap.
Do you see it happening,
they
Roger?
deliver.
Yes
But
or no?
they consistently deliver like nobody else.
Do you see it happening, Roger?
Well, we had
Yes or no?
13 games on Thursday Night Football last year.
Yeah,
and
I remember.
We're going to continue to do that. We believe there's a lot of interest from our network partners and actually media partners that aren't in our current relationships.
May I just say CBS? Just throwing it out there. Thank you, Roger. Always good to see you.
Great to be with you.
Looking forward to Sunday. Nice to see you, Jeff Immelt.
Good to see you.